The figures discussed in the chapter are those who chose to break away from the role of victims and aspire to create change. These figures put great emphasis on national pride, promoting the independence and strength of Latin America. The political leaders and the narratives that they produce serve as a way to situate current issues in context of the past. History demonstrates that the struggle of developing self-reliance and veering away from Western intervention has been a primary concern in Latin America since its creation.
This concept of freedom is the common link between major historical figures seeking independence, one being Simón Bolívar. Bolivar remains to this day as an iconic symbol for the quest to Latin American independence. Bolivar's influence is seen throughout history and is prominent in today's Latin American politics. An example of this would be the past president of Venezuela, Hugo Chavez. Chavez's movement and vision is called the Bolivarian Dream. He reflects on Bolivar's dream to remind the citizens of Venezuela to acknowledge the change that has occurred over time, but the changes that also need to be made that Bolivar had envisioned.
Simón Bolívar, also known as the Great Liberator, had a major role in initiating the independence in Latin America. Both his military exploits and visionary ideals are celebrated among Latin Americans, with his image displayed and known throughout the region. Bolivar was born on July 24, 1783, in Caracas, the capital of Venezuela. He was born into an aristocratic family, privileged in the fact that his family was wealthy but also underprivileged since he was a second-class citizen. Bolivar received the majority of his education in Europe, expanding his political and literary knowledge and realizing his dream of ending Spanish rule in South America. Bolivar set out on a number of military campaigns, having a significant involvement in the establishment of Venezuela, Ecuador, Bolivia, Peru, and Colombia as independent states from Spain. In the midst of these conquests, Bolivar produced some of his greatest narratives, most with the common theme of unity within Latin America. One of his most recognized pieces is Letter from Jamaica, which summarizes the overall intentions and hopes of the Bolivarian Dream. Bolivar wrote the letter in 1815 after his defeat from the Spaniards in Venezuela and temporarily went into exile in Jamaica. The letter complains that the region's inhabitants have been excluded from decisions in politics. As read from the document, Bolivar states, "A people is enslaved when the government infringes on and usurps the rights of the citizen or subject." He calls for unity within Latin America and emphasizes his dream of liberty from external forces. To this day, Bolivar represents the notion of independence. Present-day perceptions and interpretations of Bolivar vary, one example being the 2013 movie The Liberator. It tells the story of Bolivar's political and military feats in the 19th century and aims to reach both local and international audiences. The movie shares a significant time in Latin American history while promoting the land and culture. It is clear the quality of the film is of great importance, as it is one of the most expensive productions in Latin American history. A goal in making the movie was remaining true to the nation and its culture. While there are positive outcomes of creating a movie that informs those outside of Latin America of such an iconic figure, there are some misinterpretations of Bolivar. Maria Arana, a biographer of Bolivar, explains the historical inaccuracy of the film. The most obvious issue was the physical appearance of the actor playing Bolivar. He was tall, handsome, and strong, while Bolivar was known to be a small, skimpy man. She stated there also lacks some depth in the storytelling of Bolivar's life and accomplishments, which she claims is a common mistake that needs to be resolved. His legacy has been left open to interpretation and manipulated over time, so Rana feels Bolivar's true story needs to be clarified to the public. However, Bolivar's biographer notes the historically correct facets of the film. The display of race, inequality, and hierarchy in the colonial systems was well represented. The movie highlights and acknowledges how issues within the movie still exist. Bolivar fought for liberty and equality for the people within Latin America and hoped for a future in which society would not be separated by social standing. Unfortunately, as the actor Edgar Ramirez said in the article, a gap still exists between the rich and the poor, with the past systems having a major effect on how modern Latin America developed. The movie The Liberator is an opportunity to spread the messages of Bolivar and raise awareness of the imbalances that remain to this day.
Initially, Chavez was a career military officer. But he wasn't content with the Punto Fijo Pact, so he founded the revolutionary Bolivarian movement in the early 1980s. In 1992, after a failed coup d'etat against the Democratic Action Government, he was imprisoned. After being released, he founded the Fifth Republic movement and was elected president in 1998 and remained until his death in 2013. Calling his movement a Bolivarian evolution, he envisioned radical internal reforms, a socialist project distributing wealth to the poor. Using all oil revenues from the early 2000s, the Venezuelan government nationalized important industries, created communal councils, and implemented extra social programs, providing sufficient food, housing, and health care and education. His projects were complex, anti-imperial, and had socialist qualities. His dream called for expansive geopolitical projects in hope of uniting Latin America through economic and military alliances. Chavez's Bolivarian propaganda was also very controversial worldwide. He used his emotional arguments to compel and gain attention of his people. He exploited fears of Venezuelans, and he created enemies to prove points. Between the years of 2003 and 2007, poverty, income equality, and quality of life improved. But as a result of overspending and price controls, the government could not keep the economy afloat anymore. In Maduro's case, there was immense pressure as he was Chavez's successor and has lost much support since his election in 2013. Currently, there are protests in Venezuela due to high levels of violence, inflation, and lack of general goods. And his government is under surveillance of UN and Amnesty International for crimes against humanity. Maduro only won the election with 50% votes. Analysis propose a very difficult administration for Maduro because of the various issues currently in Venezuela.
History puts things that are happening now into context. It is important to acknowledge historical injustices in order to come up with solutions to current issues.
History provides insight into the present, gives inspiration to those in need, and caution regarding events that tend to repeat themselves. The past causes the present, and so the future.